Mr. Badri, please talk about the Manifesto of Solidarity, what underlies the emergence of a new economic mega-formation, and what are its main features?
Hello Salome, hello viewers, we continue the conversations. I will tell you the following about the first question. The basis of the formation of solidarity is the change of the properties of profit. Changing the properties of profit implies that the disintegrative nature of profit is replaced by its integrative nature. At first, decipher what profit is. Profit is the main driving force of the economy, what it is built on, the whole public or private economy, the whole capitalist system. Also, the main point of all formations was profit. The gain in the controlling mega-formation, in which we consider all 5 formations that humanity has gone through, had a disintegrative nature. What does the disintegrative nature of profit mean? The disintegrative nature of profit means that profit is separated from the production process and it is deposited in the accounts of specific businessmen, corporations, and other economic actors so that it does not return to the economy, or if it returns to the economy, just to make more profit again. Such a separation of profits from the production process and the economy causes the sums of money held by the population to be permanently reduced in direct proportion to the amount to which these profits are deposited in the bank accounts of businessmen and other economic actors. Society suffers by removing profits from the economy and production and engaging in its production to make more profit. I will say one more time that profit returns to the production process again and again to make more profit and not to return it to the community and the people. The exploitation, overproduction, unemployment, inflation, economic crises, famine, and all the misery we have during this controlling mega-formation comes from here, which mega-formation includes the primitive community, then the slave-owning system, then the feudal and capitalist systems, and finally the socialist system. Why are profits deposited in the bank accounts of specific economic actors? Why does profit have a separable character from production? Because there is no single economic actor, there are many, economic actors, in case this profit is returned to the society by one of the economic actors, in which case it will go bankrupt, and this, no matter how well-intentioned it may be, on the part of any economic actor, if he returns the profits to the society, in which case he will go bankrupt and have no consequences for his noble behavior. The nature of profit can be changed only when all the property that is in the world today comes under one corporation's influence, one economic actor. What happens at this time? When production and its development make a profit, that profit goes back to production again, but that profit comes specifically in money, at which time money is filled with a new value since the profit is already integrative, and hence comes the main positive economic coup, which is the basis of the new economic mega-formation. What is the main point of this revolution? Let's take one economic producer and one economic consumer. Both the producer and the consumer will be globalized, and there will be one-by-one economic relationship. For example, one manufacturer who produces a product of $100 and will make a profit of $20, the same amount of money that circulates between the producer and the consumer at that time, $100 will become $120 in one economic cycle. Then in the economic coup lies in the fact that by diametrically changing profit traits, exploitation is replaced by its opposite, overproduction is replaced by full-time production, unemployment is replaced by full employment, inflation is replaced by deflation, economic crises and the crisis economy in general disappear. Of course, these are new derivate terms and are understandable to the viewers and listeners. Therefore, the economic system of universal welfare arises naturally. Economic globalization, which is going on today and is a normal, natural process, naturally gives rise to a non-exploitative economy, but only after economic and political integration is completed and a one-subject centralized economy is formed. By the way, Russia has an experience of a one-subject economy when the experiment was carried out after Marxism. Since the origins of the theory of Marxism, there are many grains of truth. There was one customer, one planning committee. The property was, on one hand, it was formally state property, but it was owned by the Soviet bureaucracy. The Russian economy and communism disintegrated because in their time all state goods were formally state-owned, and it had real ownership of one of the results of a representative democracy called bureaucracy. The Soviet bureaucracy, which held virtually all state property, turned into a corrupt stratum, and largely through it the Soviet Union disintegrated from above, which was facilitated, of course, by the West. Global economic and political systems was in the 1960s and 1970s when the question whom arose as to which economic model would win, but it turned out that a privately owned economy was more viable than the so-called an economy built on public property. The private property economy overcame global competition from the Soviet economy and used the weaknesses that were precisely related to property and emerged as the global winner in the West. Today there is an irreversible process of economic globalization. Today in Russia, China, Asia, Africa, and so on, economic processes are governed conditionally by the dollar-cutting machine. Of course, it has its owners. The US dollar monopoly has shifted to the private sector since 1913. This machine has been around for more than 100 years. The US Federal Reserve manages economic processes. It takes government bonds from the United States, issues dollars in exchange for bonds. It finances primarily the central banks, the World Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and so on. The latter finance large and small banks, after banks, and through the pyramid scheme indirectly finance large corporations finance productions, and so on. It will all end at the bottom of the pyramid, where there is a consumer, the world community. That is, we have an informally centralized economy today, but it is not fully globalized. It is in the shadows. Economy in the final stages of globalization will not be legalized unless the world political system is changed. Existing global opposition political class. The world bureaucracy is also an economic class born of a non-economic political way, born of a regulated socialist market and representative democracy. It is the main brake on globalization and new economic formation. That is why it is vital to replace the regulatory market and representative democracy as the source and nourishing foundation of world bureaucracy with a free market and direct democracy, the latter being the key to the victory of international capital and its world bourgeoisie and its rise to world political power. Hence these fundamental reforms are dictated by vital necessity and are not a matter of taste or free choice. The post-Stalinist political system created after World War II and their successors Russia, China, and their allies North Korea, Iran, and others, which are an especially regulated economy, do not allow international capital free access to their markets because they lose financial independence. This is followed by a loss of political independence. If this system is not changed, if a new centralized political system is not created in the world, which ensures global economic and political freedom, the end of world globalization, in this case, the illegal and endless centralized economy, will not come out of the world bourgeoisie, which I talked about in previous interviews, which controls the US Federal Reserve and indirectly almost the entire world economy, cannot come out of the shadows. The globalization of the economy cannot end without total market liberalization. As for the nature of a globalized and centralized economy, it will be radically different from the Soviet economy, with what? On property issues. The real owners of the centralized and newly globalized economy will be the specific associations, individuals who still run the US Central Reserve and its founders, who still run most of the world economy. In the new system today, the illegal centralized economy will be legalized and formalized, globalization will end, and the world's historical key change of profit properties will take place, the transition to a new economic mega-formation, from control to solidarity. The real owner of the new economic system will be the owner of this centralized economy, unlike the Soviet system, which will no longer be destroyed by anyone. No one can dismantle this economy, it will be assembled so successfully. Many ask, there was no competition in the economy of the Soviet Union, there were social competitions, there they competed with each other based on enthusiasm and so on, based on faith. In the conditions of this economy, which is coming now, competition is not excluded, but is reaching a qualitatively new height. Just as the Soviet Union had one central planning committee and one client, the state and the executor were ordinary enterprises, it will be the same now, but now the centralized owner will be the main customer, and he will order each firm the products it needs, and will need for world customers and ordering. Competition and order fulfillment will be the basis of future competition. The means of production that the owners, the performers, will have will be in dualistic ownership. That is, it will be not only the property of the owner of the centralized economy, but also the property of the contractor, in which case the contractor will be interested in both personal gain and maintenance of the enterprise he owns. This transfer of ownership and co-ownership will be on a contractual basis. Each owner of any enterprise will be the owner himself and the customer will be the co-owner. This is usually practiced in practice, as is now the case, for example, co-ownership and partnership in various types of enterprises.